Kyle Bass is best known for outsmarting Wall Street in the early 2000s when he made a bet against housing. He accurately predicted the 2007 housing market collapse and made a remarkable $500 million from that bet. How did he do it? There are two main secrets to his success. The first is his extraordinary psychology, or his mindset. In the early 2000s, almost everyone was betting for housing, but he was betting against it. To be one of the few to bet against it, one would need a strong mindset or balls of steel. His tough mindset came from the hard times in his life and his springboard diving experience. Without it, he would have never acted on his predictions before the 2007 collapse. The second secret to his success is how he looks for investment opportunities. Before I get into the complex version of how he did it in 2007, here's a very simple example. Have you ever thought about, where can I get a riskless return, or return without any risk? Bass did. His answer? Nickels. Yes, you heard that right. How do you get a riskless return with nickels? Currently, a nickel has a melt value of 16 cents. The melt value is basically the price of the metals used to make the coin. This means that the 5-cent coin is actually worth 16 cents in its true metal value. Oh, but please don't go and start melting nickels. I'm pretty sure that's highly illegal. In addition, if the US government ends up changing the metals used to make nickels like what it did with pennies a while back, collectors might even be willing to pay more than the 16 cents melt value. So you're easily making more than 3 times what you put in, with basically zero risk. Crazy, isn't it? No wonder Bass said he would put his entire net worth in nickels if he could find that many coins to buy. This strategy of trying to find a riskless return is the core of his second secret to success. He calls it asymmetric risk reward, which basically means risking a little to make a lot. And this is the same strategy he used in 2007 to earn $500 million. To make the $500 million, most people would think he risked a lot, but that's not true. He actually only risked 3 cents per year. How? In the early 2000s, the housing market was rapidly growing and everyone expected this to go on forever. So, betting against housing was extremely cheap. Most people didn't know they were actually in the housing bubble, which means the prices of houses rose far beyond what they were actually worth. The bubble expanded from 2 main factors. 1, people mass buying houses they couldn't actually afford, and 2, lenders giving out risky loans as if they were Oprah Winfrey. At the time, most assumed that the housing growth came from the income growth, but that wasn't true. Bass saw that in those recent years, housing prices went up much faster than incomes, and he knew this was unsustainable. To bring that relationship or balance back in line again, either incomes will have to increase significantly or housing prices will have to drop significantly. When was the last time you had a raise? So, he took a bet against the housing market. If he were wrong and housing prices went up, he would only lose 3 cents a year. But if he were right and prices remained the same or dropped, he would make a whole dollar. This is the perfect example of using asymmetric risk reward. He had a 3% downside if he were wrong, but a 100% upside if he were right. Please subscribe if you're finding this video helpful. What asymmetric risk reward does is that you will almost never put yourself in a position to lose all of your money. A lot of investors who don't know what they're doing put everything into 1 or 2 things. So when those things collapse, they're in big trouble. Luckily, you can prevent this by using a well-diversified portfolio. If you want to learn how to build a portfolio from an investing legend who turned Yale's endowment from $1 billion to more than $29 billion, let me introduce you to David Swenson. He will teach you how to build your own portfolio so you can make more with less risk.